I think in practice we wore, the 87 shirt, and then obviously, the 2012 shirt's that sort of deep purple, which obviously I had the privilege of wearing at Medina, which was obviously an amazing week. It was a pretty tough week as well for two full days, pretty much until the very end of Saturday, as we all know, and then clearly Sunday turned it around. But Chicago crowd was an intense arena to play in, very difficult. I think you began to understand how important momentum is, really, with any match that has a home and an away crowd. So I think that really activates the sort of the intensity and the environment out there. So you don't want to compare anything to New York, but I think Chicago was also a big crowd. I mean, I think the scale of the Ryder Cup seems to have really kind of kicked on massively in the last decade. So I feel like each occasion is getting more and more intense, which is a lot of fun, obviously. And I think this one, we don't really know. It's obviously going to ramp up. Obviously we were here for 2 days. It was very quiet, had the course to ourselves. Yesterday, playing with fans in was a good step up in gear. Obviously today, with the opening ceremony being moved forward, it's going to be another feeling of, okay, we're getting closer to the start line here, and obviously it's all going to start to feel very real, and the intensity of it's going to grow and grow as the week goes on. So don't know how to compare it to Medina just yet, other than Medina was intense.
Justin, back here. Justin.
Sorry, where am I at? Oh, yeah, sorry, mate.
We've heard a bit about you guys wearing the VR headsets during practice. I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about your experience of them. Do you think it's beneficial? And what was the worst sledge you got?
Listen, I think the VR headsets have been a thing, but for me personally, it was a great idea, and I wouldn't say I've spent more than 5 minutes using them, if I'm honest. I think it was really, really interesting to put them on and get the feeling of what it was going to look like. Obviously with the 18th and the wraparound and the first and the stands, and how a full Bethpage could look and feel. And I had more fun showing my family. Some people who aren't going to be here, my son, my daughter, my mum. This is what the first tee is going to feel like. So that was really cool from that point of view. Obviously it's VR, and there was the overlaying of just the US chants and things like that. So worth doing for sure, but a soft serving of it. Let's put it that way.
And on 7.
Yeah. How are you?
Hey.
Can you talk about Luke Donald's leadership qualities, and does one emerge as a leader, or are you born with that as a leader yourself?
So what was the second half of the question, excuse me?
Does one emerge as a leader, or do you think a leader is born with those qualities?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think Luke, he's always been more on the introverted side throughout his career and very much focused on his own game and, quiet and go about his business. And I think Luke has really emerged as a leader over the last couple of years, and I think he's really invested in himself as a leader, and I think he's grown tremendously as a human, right? I think he's probably learned so much through this process, and I'm blown away by the work ethic that he's given this captaincy cycle, both of them. He came into it in Rome maybe 6 months behind where he would have been otherwise. Made up for it amazingly. I think his communication style has been incredibly consistent and on point, and I think takes a lot of the fuss out of it from a player's point of view. So, yeah, listen, it comes down to execution from a player's point of view always, but just good, clear captaincy, I think, kind of sets the tone and paves the way for the players to kind of go ahead and focus on what's important, which is obviously on the golf course from Friday morning. So there's probably a million decisions Luke's had to make to give us no decisions. And I think that's ultimately what the job of being a captain is. But yeah, I give Luke tons of credit for how much he's invested in himself.
Let's get both of you at 12 there.
Hi, Justin. You're a big Chelsea fan. What's it been like having Franco Zola around the place? Was he one of your heroes? What are your memories of watching him, and what's he been like? What's his role kind of around the team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Chelsea legend, clearly. I'm a Chelsea fan. I didn't know he was coming this week, so it was a huge surprise. And literally one of the first people I bumped into, I was coming around the corner of the hotel to the lifts and bumped into him. Just saying out there, I meet a lot of really cool people in my life through the game of golf. But I was like, whoa, wow, hey, Jim Franco. It's like I was starstruck, which is amazing. football hits different, especially back at home. And, obviously the career he's had clearly. Listen, I've become more of an engaged football fan in the last decade, I would say. I have a 16-year-old son who's mad about his football, so it's really been more of a thing that we connect with now. So I'd say my history of football and really knowing greatest hits and highlights, I'd be not quite there. But I think his energy, what he can provide, I think he's here just to sort of, in a sense, not, let's call it fly on the wall, but I think if there's a moment that he observes and can kind of chime in and can understand the pressure or can understand momentum or, locker room mentality, then obviously there's probably going to be something this week where he can relay a really powerful message. So hopefully he has that opportunity, because I'd love to hear it.
Hi. Just the same again. Luke seems to have planned and have detailed plans for everything this week. Is there an official policy how to deal with or handle President Trump when he comes on Friday, if he's on the course? Are you going to ignore him, say hello to him? How are you going to handle it?
Obviously it's going to bring a lot of, rightly so, a lot of attention and patriotism to the event. And by all accounts, he's going to be I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I don't think he's necessarily going to be on the tee box with us or roaming the course. So from that point of view, I think there'll just be a lot of noise around it, but I'm not sure there'll be the continued distraction of it. But again, I could be wrong just based upon what I've heard, how they're going to handle his movements around the property. But listen, it's great for golf that he's engaged in the game, and obviously he brings a lot of eyeballs with him. So. But fan-wise, I'm sure Friday afternoon will be certainly very intense and entertaining.
Because we all know Donald Trump likes a winner, and he was there when Chelsea won the trophy in July. Would you welcome him on the stage if Europe retain the trophy? You're going to invite him along if you do win on the Sunday?
100%. Love the opportunity, to sort of have that opportunity. Listen, I'm not sure he's going to want to be on the stage, congratulating the team that sort of wins in his backyard, but. Listen, of course, he's the president, the ultimate respect, and that'd be a good opportunity.
John, go ahead.
Justin, over here.
Sorry, I'm not following today. Sorry. Hi, John.
Hi. Rory seems to be the self-appointed chief chirper. Are you happy with him in that role, and how well do you think he does it?
Chief chirper. I think Rory's very comfortable with himself. I think he has thick skin. I think that he can handle the blowback of if he says something that he believes and it's not taken in the right way. I think he's happy to see it how he sees it and call it how he sees it. And I think that he has the freedom on the golf course to just roll with that. I don't think it sort of layers. What he says, I don't think layers into his golf game, and that's an amazing talent that he has. I think he always plays incredibly freely, and I think that that's probably the line where Rory can tiptoe better than most. Yeah.
Over here with Doug.
Rory's got one more cup than you. You've got him by age still. I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's the wrong relationship there, yeah.
What kind of leadership role do you take amongst the players?
Yeah, so, obviously, elder statesman, as I've been called, but, I don't try to see myself that way, really, because I'm still enthusiastic about my game, and I still want to be a contributing member of the team in the greatest way possible, which is earning points and not just here for wisdom and things like that. But, I celebrate the differences in our team, and I think that's obviously what Team Europe is all about. Come from different places, different cultures, different backgrounds, and I think celebrating that's important. So me putting my spin on it, I don't want to sort of cloud anybody's judgment out there, but I also want to be an open enough book that if someone is feeling like they have a question, then please come and ask me. I'm happy to share my experience on that. But I think that there's not really a need for me to be able to, or to have to put my arm around anybody. And I think the fact that we are 11 out of 12 returning players is an amazing thing, especially coming to an away Ryder Cup.
Whoever gets to play with Rory this week, what a privilege, what an amazing thing to be able to do, to stand next to him on the golf course and play alongside him. He's one of, if not the greatest player of our generation. The energy that I think he has, that he brings, your team, that he brings to the Ryder Cup, I think is amazing. I think it's great. And, if I'm or one of them that gets the chance to play against him, I will love that opportunity, and I'll be there to, whatever energy he decides to bring, I'll be there to support him and be a good partner for him.
Over to 14.
Hey, Tommy, how much did what happened at Whistling Straits play into your preparation and motivation for Rome? And do you believe the U.S. might have a little chip on their shoulders because of what happened in Rome?
Yeah, I think absolutely. When you've lost a Ryder Cup, for us, 100% at Whistling Straits, we took there's no other way of putting it, we took a hammer in. We didn't, I think all of us that were on that team didn't feel like we did ourselves justice in the way that we played, and never really gave ourselves a chance. We were behind from the get-go there, and we lost that one. But I remember on the plane home, so that was, the day after, we were all, as a team, we were all looking, we were all thinking, what are we going to do now? There's 2 years to go. First of all, we all want to start working to get the chance to have a go at it again, and sort of avenge ourselves in that way. But then, looking at the process of what can we do more? What can Team Europe do or add that can give us a better chance in Rome? And I think when you've lost one, yeah, of course you have a chip on your shoulder. Like you have that feeling of hurt. I think one of the most motivating things you can have is watching the other team celebrate when you've lost. And no matter how great of a time, like some of my best memories in the game were from Whistling Straits. Like we got hammered on the golf course, but as a team and how close you become and the moments that we drew on that week are still some of my best memories in the game. But also that hurt and watching those guys celebrate when you didn't feel like you didn't do yourselves justice, I think is one of the most motivating things you can have. And it came to Rome, and a sort of, I guess it was a very new look of a team, and a home crowd, home advantage, and we took that. So actually, winning that one was really, really satisfying. And of course, the American team will have similar sort of feelings. They'll have been hurt from last time, and they'll come here and want to win and be at home and want to win in front of their home crowd. So, and that's just as it should be.
And do you take any sense of pride in being probably the last guy whose golf made Scotty cry?
It's not something I think about. It's obviously that day it was somewhat of a freak result and something that we didn't quite expect, but it was a cool experience that me and Victor had, and it was a cool thing to do. Yeah.
Up to 12.
Yeah, hi Ludvig. I was going to ask you a similar thing that Saturday morning when you've already achieved a lot in your career. How does that 9-7 win rank in what you've achieved so far? And what's your biggest memory of that morning?
I think the biggest thing that I take away from those couple days and maybe especially that morning was just the validation for myself and that I'm able to do that, because obviously before I played in Rome, I hadn't even met those guys. I've never shaken their hands, and I'd never have a conversation with them. So for me to get there and to bring out a result like that was a big deal for me personally, to know that I'm able to beat those guys at times. I'm able to compete and play good golf against them. So that's the biggest thing that I take away. And I had a really good partner that day, which always helps. So, but it was a cool experience and probably something that I won't forget.
Okay, just to follow up on that, what makes you and Victor, why did it work so well? Is it as well as the golf? Is there something? And are you available to play with him again this week?
Yeah, we're good friends. We speak the same language. We come from a very similar background. Obviously, he grew up in Norway and Sweden are very close in terms of the cultural environment, and yeah, we get along. He's a funny guy to have funny conversations with. It can go in any direction that you don't really expect, and it's we had a good time in Rome, and we've played multiple practice rounds since, and our caddies get along great too. So it's a good friend to have on tour and in the team room here.
So just on one more, what's the wackiest thing he comes out with this week? Can you think of an example?
Well, yeah, he's always into sort of the UFO deals and all those things. So it's quite interesting. I'm not quite down that road just yet. If I hang out with him long enough, I might be. But, again, you never really know where it's going to go, which is quite interesting.
Up to Martin.
Luke Donald's talked about needing a different plan from Rome to win an away Ryder Cup. From a player's perspective, do you sense that is the case?
Yeah, I think so. I think you'd be naive to think it's going to be the same. I think the challenge, obviously there's challenges with playing at home, but the bigger challenges are going to be away. I think for me, I was fortunate enough to have a really good experience in Rome, and that being my first one. But I think this one's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, the whole environment, the whole situation calls for different preparation. I think Luke has done a tremendous job, Luke and his whole team, of making us aware of that and making us excited about what's to come. And yeah, it's just we have an opportunity to do something really special, and I think we have 12 guys who are really excited about that.
Over to Mike 5, please.
Ludvig, yesterday you guys got out there for the first time in front of the fans, in front of the crowd. So much has been made about them. I'm just curious what that experience was like for the first time, and if you heard any of the chirping that you guys are anticipating over the next couple days when the tournament starts.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. It was such a cool, iconic place, right, Bethpage, and it's that passion that the Ryder Cup brings out that you don't necessarily see in a normal tournament. So that's why we all love it. That's why we all think it's the best tournament in the world. And we're all looking forward to a good couple of weeks or a couple of days, and good challenging couple of days. But it's a cool environment to play golf in, and I feel very, very fortunate to be walking those fairways.
Did you feel any of that? I should say, did you hear any chirps? Did you kind of get a sense of the crowd trying to get under your skin already?
Yeah, there's always going to be a little bit of chirping going on. I think that's a part of sports. It's a part of athletics, and that's what makes it fun. That's what brings out these tournaments, and that's what we all love it. So yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of things, which is a part of it.
Rasmus, you have Thomas here, and he's been part of you growing up and becoming a great player. What does it mean for you to have Thomas here this week as well?
It's very special. I've got a great relationship with Thomas. He's been around us for some years now. So yeah, it's a good support to have close to me this week.
5.
Just you guys had the first opportunity to be out there on the course with fans in attendance. So much has been made about the crowd coming into this. I'm just curious what that experience was like with them there yesterday. And did you guys hear some of that chirping? Did you kind of start to feel the energy that's expected to be here when the event starts later this week?
I think yesterday was a very good day. I thought the crowds were great. Got good support. So yeah, it's been so far it's been great. We know that there's going to be some situations out there, but I think we're all very much prepared for it. But it was definitely a very good start.
Over to Mike 6.
Have you been trying to pick the brain of some of the, obviously 11 of these guys were there last time, but maybe some of the older veterans on the team to try and figure out what your first Ryder Cup is really going to represent?
Yeah, I've spoken to Thomas quite a bit, but yeah, there's some very experienced guys in the team, so I think just being around them gives you a sense of calmness, and yeah, it's again, Nikolai played it the last time, so yeah, there's been some good stuff in there that I can try and use in my advantage.
Adam?
Did you use the virtual reality goggles, and if so, how did they help you prepare for this week?
Yeah, I tried them on. I thought it was a fun idea. Yeah, it gave us a picture of how the whole first tee looked like, which I thought was quite fun. So yeah, it was a fun little gimmick from the team.
And when did playing in a Ryder Cup become a dream of yours?
Back in 2012, when that was the first Ryder Cup I really watched on the TV. So yeah, that was when my Ryder Cup dream started.
Can you give one quick example of what you learned from being at the Ryder Cup in 23, being part of the team?
Well, I think just to see how everything runs, how the days are built, how the team room functions. So it's as a whole, it was nice to see how all the days just goes by, how they all prepare together, and what what's going to happen during the tournament days as well.
Paul on 11.
Rasmus, wondering when you think the most nervous you've ever been on the golf course?
Say that again?
When's the most nervous you've ever been on the golf course?
It was probably at Belfry this year, I think, when I was trying to qualify for the team. So yeah, that was probably when I was the most nervous.
Are you doing anything or kind of any mental preparations about how you might feel first tee as matches are going and kind of how you want to try to handle that?
I think I'm going to feel some sense of what I did at the Belfry there, trying to qualify there. So I'm pretty sure the first tee is going to be my most nervous moment. But again, I try to look at it in a way that I only get to try, the first Ryder Cup tee-shot once in my life. So trying to embrace that in a way. It sounds like a cliche, but that's going to be my approach, and then see how it goes.
Over to 12.
Yeah, hi, Rasmus. Given that you were involved in Rome 2 years ago, is there anything this year that has surprised you?
Not really. It's pretty much the same team. They only had to change one initial on the names. So no, I think everyone is still very much on the same page. I think I kind of fell into the group in a very smooth way. So far, nothing has really surprised me, I think.
Just one follow-up. Did you know who Gianfranco Zola is? You a big football fan?
I do know who he is, yeah.
And which is your football team, by the way, in England? You say?
I know Thomas is laughing here, but it's Man United.
Oh, I'm sorry.